Hello and welcome to Gardening with Ben, the award-winning gardening podcast as voted for by the Grow Your Own magazine and by my followers and by my listeners. I hope that you have all clicked that subscribe button. If you're new to the podcast channel, please do click the subscribe button and then you get notified of all the new podcasts that get launched. And if you're not following me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube and TikTok, make sure you look for Gardening with Ben and follow me on all my social medias. So sit back, relax, grab a brew and let's enjoy today's gardening podcast with Ben. Hello and welcome back to Gardening with Ben. The weekend is finally here. I'm still on night shift. I've still got 2 more left to go, so we won't be back to the plot until Monday. But yeah, it's certainly starting to get cooler, and I noticed last night when I was working last night the temperature certainly did drop quite a lot, and it seems to be getting colder by the week now, so we need to start being productive and careful with all our plants and getting them all ready for possibly frost coming. Some parts of the UK I did notice they did get some frost last night, so be careful wherever you are because it could kill some crops off. And yeah, it's a good time now this weekend. Obviously, if you're in the UK, we've got a bank holiday on the Monday because of the Queen's funeral, so it's a good few days down at the allotment to start getting it ready for autumn and start planning what we want to do. And one of the things that I like to do before the winter comes is I walk around my plot and I just have a look around and I'll start writing a plan of what I want to do over the winter period, because if you don't write down ideas of what you would like to do or what you want to achieve on your plot, you may not get them tasks done and you could forget, to be honest. So I always take a walk around my plot and I just write down, like saying, oh, I need to paint that bed, or I need to create another flower bed just there, or that path needs levelling out a bit more. And if you put a plan together, you can actually tick them off as you complete them, and you hopefully get to that end of the long list, which never happens. It certainly never happens. But I've got quite a few plans of what I want to do on my plot this year over the autumn period, because last autumn, winter time, I did so much on my plot. I gave it a massive transformation, a massive makeover, and the amount of work that I did hopefully won't need as much work doing this year, but there is quite a lot of work that I want to get done on my plot this year, and we'll see if we manage to achieve it or not. It's going to be a tough one, and one of the things that I always do around possibly in October time, I'll start digging out all my geranium plants, because sometimes geraniums, they can't survive over the winter. If the cold gets them really bad, it will possibly kill them. But if you dig them all up and take them into the shed and keep them watered over the autumn winter period, they will survive, they will stay alive, and you will have bigger and better plants next year for the allotment or garden, and it'll save you money in the long run. And I did this with about 6 or 7 plants that I'd grown from seed last year, and they are absolutely fantastic. They've stayed alive, they've flowered, they've done really well, and they kept on blooming in my shed all the way through the winter period. And one of my friends who's got a plot next to me, he knows quite a little bit about gardening and stuff like that, and he says you shouldn't be letting them flower, you need to be cutting the flowers off while they're inside in the shed through the winter period. But I did like to see the flowers on them, and I did like to keep seeing them blooming, and it's not done them any harm. So I didn't plant them in any special compost or anything. I just used general soil, put it in pots and kept them watered throughout the winter period. And my shed's not heated or anything like that, but it kept them alive and it stopped that frost from getting them and killing them off. So I was quite impressed with that, because I do like geraniums. They look absolutely beautiful, and I grew a lot more as well from seed this year. So hopefully the the amount of plants that we're going to be saving for next year will be double, probably triple the amount. So hopefully over the years I can get more and more geraniums growing on the plot, and hopefully lots more flowers and blooms, because geraniums are the successful plants. If you've got them growing, you'll get great colour off them and great flowers from them. They're a great plant to have on the plot, and you have no issues with getting flowers on geraniums. They're easy plant to grow if you want an easy plant. So that's one thing that we're going to be doing over the next few weeks, is getting all them geraniums out. And obviously, leading up to the frost coming, you can keep your flower beds continuing to flower all the way through summer, up until possibly late October. If you just keep pruning them, keep taking all the dead heads off, and keep looking after them, and they'll keep flowering. Yes, they might start looking a bit straggly now and start looking a bit demoralised, but if you keep pruning them, keep deheading them, you will get flowers on them all the way up to October, possibly November, depending on how cold it actually does get. But obviously, when it gets to November, that is going to be the time when I'm planting all my bulbs on my plot. And as you've heard over the last few episodes, I have been going absolutely mad with buying bulbs this year, and I still need to go even more madder and go out and get some more, which I'll probably get some next month, and possibly in the beginning of November if there's still any bulbs around. But yeah, it's going to look absolutely scenic, my allotment, in springtime, with the amount of colour that I've got. So that's one of my main projects this winter time, is to get all these bulbs in the ground. And obviously, once I've done it all, I won't need to buy any bulbs next year. Fingers crossed. We will see. Hold me to that one. If you're listening, say, Ben, you're not buying any more bulbs next year when you go out, when you see me posting pictures of bulbs next year. But yeah, hopefully we won't need to do that. But we've got all that to do. But I want to concentrate on possibly doing up quite a bit of my entrance on my plot this year, as it's starting to look a bit shabby. It's starting to look a bit. It's starting to get to end of its life. I did it up about 4 or 5 years ago, and all the pathways are starting to get a bit slanted from where mice have been burying under them and stuff like that, and it all just needs probably ripping out and digging over, levelling out, and starting afresh. We obviously won't need to buy anything because I've got all the paving slabs, I've got all the wooden edging, and I've got all the black membrane down and stuff like that. It just needs a good, really taking back, clearing out, and redoing, and just freshening up, to be honest. And that's one job that I'd like to do. And another main job is going to be sorting out all around my fruit tree area, because again, that was the same area, same time that I did all that area, and yeah, it's starting to get unlevel, and the fruit trees are taking over. They're getting really big now, so we need to give them a good chopping back. And yeah, I probably won't get as much fruit next year, but it does need a good tidy up. It's a struggle to get past them sometimes. It was a bit like a jungle, and I have brambles growing around there and stuff like that, so it all just needs ripping out and starting from scratch again. Like, I won't need to buy anything because I've got everything, so it's a case of just tidying it all up and making it look better. The main part of my allotment plot, I don't need to do anything. It's all good. It's all really good. The pathways are all done, all the beds are done and stuff like that, so it'll just be a case of turning over the soil. Possibly I'm going to be adding some manure to the plot this year, because I've not added any nutrients for a while to the plot, so we need to add some nutrients back in, so I might be getting some of that over the next few weeks, so that it breaks down over the winter and it feeds into the soil, ready for next year and ready for it all coming. So hopefully we can get all that done and hopefully get all that spruced up. But another big project that I would like to do is I'd like to rip down my shed and rebuild it from scratch. Now obviously that will cost money. I've got all the wood. The wood's all there. The wood's still healthy and really good, my shed. But there's quite a lot of plastic on it, what I've put on it for all the sheeting and stuff like that. yeah, it's all in good condition, but some of the pieces, they've all broken when it were windy the other year. They've snapped a bit. Some of them have shattered or discoloured, and my roof leaks where I've not done it right. So I'd like to rebuild it and start from scratch. And yes, I'd probably make it even more bigger than what it actually is at the moment. Yes, it is a big shed, but I could do better with it and put up better shelving inside it. I've got a massive issue with bindweed in there, so it'd be a case of taking all the flooring up and digging all the roots out and getting all that cleared and making it all better. So it's quite a big job what I've got to do over the winter period. But if you're thinking about it, I've got from possibly October right through to March time when I first start planting my seeds. So I have got a lot of time to get it all done and get it all rebuilt. And the longest job, I'll probably be taking it down, to be honest. That'll be the longest job, but to build it probably won't take as long to do that, because once I get going, it shouldn't take too long, to be honest. The hardest bit last time was putting the roof on it. I had to use some ladders because I have to build it higher than myself, which I'm 6'5", so I needed to build it really tall. And last time I dug it all out, so rather than build on top of the soil, I dug down, so there's like a step down into it, so that it is actually higher than me. It doesn't look tall on the outside, but on the inside it is tall, if you get me. So it all looks pretty good. So that is one project I would like to do. And my polytunnel skin's not going to last forever on my polytunnel, so I need to be prepared for replacing that at some point. So at some point I need to order a new one of them, and that's going to be the hardest task, is digging out all the trench around it and putting all a new polytunnel skin on. I've managed to hold it for a few more years past its sell-by date, to be honest. It's probably been on about 10 years, which is fantastic for a polytunnel skin. If you've got a polytunnel skin, you'll know they probably don't usually last that long, but this one has, and it's been fantastic. It's certainly had its money's worth. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we can do that at some point, but that will cost me about £150 probably for the new skin. I don't really know, to be honest. I've not looked at prices, but that will set me back. So I may have to do lots and lots of podcasts to raise money for that new skin. So keep on streaming them. So yeah, so it's going to be a busy few months coming up over winter time, but it's good to plan them all out. Write that list down of stuff that you would like to do on the plot, and if you tick them off, yes, well done, fantastic, you've achieved it. But yeah, keep on going, keep on growing, and use this winter autumn time to get your allotment looking fantastic. Yeah, there won't be much colour or growing in it, but have the time to put into it over the winter period, and you'll be successful over the spring and summertime. So thanks for listening to today's podcast. As I say, when I'm not at the allotment, I usually talk about different little topics and stuff like that, and then when I'm back at the allotment, I can talk about what I've been up to and growing down there. And I hope that you all do enjoy them. I do love all the feedback that you do send me when you send me a message about them. So keep on listening, keep on gardening. Until next time, remember, keep listening to Gardening with Ben. Thank you for listening to today's Gardening with Ben's podcast. I hope that you've enjoyed it. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do click that subscribe button, and feel free to share it as well on your Instagram stories. All you have to do if you're listening on Spotify is click the share button, and you can share it straight to your Instagram story for all your followers to listen to, and help build my listeners up as well and get more people listening to it. Feel free to check out all my social medias: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube and TikTok. Yes, I'm on TikTok. Go check it out. Check out my dancing. Gardening with Ben. And check out the link as well in the description of this podcast, where you can check out my gardening t-shirt shop, where I sell funny t-shirts with all different funny logos and designs on. And feel free to support me by purchasing one, and all the money obviously goes back into my allotment, where I can share more gardening tips with you all. So until next time, remember, Keep smiling, keep gardening, and keep listening to Gardening with Ben's podcast.